So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive Podcast. I'm John Watts, along with Brad Cook and Cace Cook today. Usually I let Brad introduce our guests, but yeah, you've been on the podcast before, so...
Yeah, the family podcast.
Yep.
You know, it had some edits. I don't know if you know that.
You did it? Really?
We sent it out, and Cindy didn't like some of the... Yeah, well, Cindy's brother said, hey...
So you're going to start this? Are you going to start this one with edits too? We can't. We have to stop it.
I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
We're going to edit some stuff out every now and then.
Yeah.
I get a little loose with the tongue sometimes, and yeah.
I think we just about didn't get all the way through with the first half of the family history. I'm not even sure we made it to the present.
What we? No, I know we went all over the place.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least we got it to where you and Molly were working here, and so
Right.
then I think we skipped to the future there a little bit. So, what you drinking there this morning, there, brother?
Man, it's a Alani New energy drink.
I got you.
I don't think they're a sponsor yet, but
Yeah, but it does look like they use our colors. Right. A lot of our same.
We'll let it slide.
This episode brought to you by Alani New. If you want energy, I got nothing. So, okay. Well, yeah, I wanted you to come back on because it's getting close to pool season, and you're going to be heading up the installation of semi-in-ground and above-ground pools. But we could probably make this not a podcast as much as a meeting because you said you had some ideas about kind of how you wanted the season to go. So, but first, I guess let's set that on the table and recap for me how many years you've been actually building pools.
Well, I guess this will be my 10th season.
Okay.
I'm installing.
So you think you built 1,000 pools at this point? Maybe not quite.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah, I knew
pretty fair to say.
I knew one year you built 106. I remember that, but that might have been your top year, so you might not be.
Maybe not 1,000.
This is your 10th, yeah. So you're somewhere around 800 or 900 pools. That's a pretty good bit.
I don't know. The past 3 years we've been doing around 40 to 50 stealths a year, and then about 100 above grounds.
That sounds about right.
Is that right? I don't do
fluctuated a little bit. Yeah.
Don't do all the above grounds. I do most of the stealths.
Right.
So I think last year I did every single one of the stealths.
Yeah, for those who might hear stealth and not understand exactly what that is, that's a semi-in-ground pool. Several years ago, we sold and built above-ground pools and in-ground pools, and there was a big gap between the two, meaning above-ground pools, the most expensive thing you could get 10 or 12 years ago was $10,000, and the least expensive in-ground pool was $30 or $35 at the time. So there was a $25,000 gap in the middle where people, there was no option for people in the middle. And so my brother and a mutual friend of ours got in the old the back shop and created a semi-in-ground pool category called Stealth.
So we're the originators of that category.
I'm a beneficiator of my brother and Peter Von Hofgaard created that semi-in-ground pool category, and it's been a really good category for us because we do a decent number of them every year, and it kind of meets people where they are in their financial journey or their pool journey. If they want something that's that'll go in the ground a little further and that you can backfill without any risk, it's basically an in-ground pool that's just not all the way down in the ground, wouldn't you say? You've been
pretty close. There's no deep end, but a lot of people aren't looking for a true deep end anyway.
Yeah, it's just a deeper pool.
How long have you been doing them? How long has this been a category?
How long ago? Do you remember? Have we been doing those about 7 or 8 years now? You've been here 10 years.
They were introduced around 2017, 2018. The first time I ever saw one in somebody's yard was actually in Martin. I want to say it was like a 30-foot round, and I went over there to look, and I'm like, what is this?
Have companies started to do this at all, or is this an exclusive between us and your brother and Peter?
We're the exclusive stealth dealer for several states, but we are not. Semi in-ground pools are not exclusive to us. Just the stealth itself. Just because there is a company that does where they take 2 above ground pool walls and then get styrofoam, like a 2-inch thick piece of styrofoam, and kind of glue it all together, and they form it and make panels out of it. And that is also in the semi in-ground variable class. But
okay, I was just asking, because it seemed neat to us.
Variable.
Yeah. Well, we won't go too deep into that. We'll just say that.
Sure.
Obviously, in our rural area where we come from, we get to choose because we started out a long time ago. We're kind of the go to any manufacturer. And if I sound like I'm bragging or being proud a little bit, I'll just forgive me for that. But I mean, most manufacturers, at least I was told, that they would like to have us to be their dealer if at all possible. So we get to choose the best thing for the money, and stealth is what we believe. It's not even a belief; it's by a long shot is the best semi in-ground pool there is in my.
Why do we call it stealth?
Humble opinion. You know what? It's a name that really sounds cool.
Oh
yeah, and
sneaky good.
And
it seems
you
hidden.
know what? And when it's sitting out in your yard, you can't even hear it.
Oh, you can't even hear it. Nice,
especially if the pump's off.
Right.
Yeah. It's just out there really stealthy.
Just sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It
flies below radar.
Been a good. I guess it has for a few years. Anyway. So now until everybody watched this podcast, now it's crazy. But anyway, so here we are in February 2026, and we're coming up on a new season where let's have that meeting we were talking about having. So what's the plan for this year? How are we going to get all these? Because we've got odd. I mean, we've already sold above ground pools, and above ground pools, historically speaking, is more of an impulse kind of purchase. I mean, we've sold more above ground pools this year than we have ever in the history. Even in the pandemic, I don't know that we sold. It's not a lot, but I mean, it was January, and so what are we going to do to what's the state of the Aloha construction category of semi in-ground and above ground pools? What are you thinking?
So we'll start with last year. Last year we only had 2 crews, and with the distance that we travel, it's difficult for everybody. It's difficult to cover as much ground as far as installs go, versus if we had if we were just in a tighter radius. Right. So with 2 crews, we felt like just a constant battle. A lot of rain last season. So
first half of the year, for sure. When everybody was wanting pools.
That's we got all of our rain. I think if we had a 50 inch average in Tennessee, and I think
it set records all over. We
were
crazy.
At 50 inches in May or June.
Right. By the half year, we were 15 or 20 inches over the entire year, or something like that. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not sure exactly, but so now we've got one of those guys is now actually working as a sales rep.
Right.
Chase Bratton.
You're down a crew.
So I'm down a crew, but I've had a good solid crew for I think 2 to 3 years now. So I'm taking. The plan is to take 2 of those guys and send them off as crew leaders.
Right.
One specifically on above grounds can probably do some simpler stealths. The other one would be on the more difficult stealth jobs.
Colton, one of them?
Colton, yeah.
All right, so but Colton's been, he's been on 400 or so of those pools.
Yeah, I've had.
And, I mean, of those 800 or 900 that you've built.
Right. Yeah, Colton.
He's been here since he was 18 or 19 years old. Was he 27 now?
Colton is 26.
Okay. Yeah.
He's 2 years younger than me.
Good kid.
He might be 25 and turns 26 this year. I can't remember.
I was trying to think. Y'all played football together and
graduated with Libby, so he's that age.
Yeah. Okay. So that will be 26 in 26.
Yeah.
Libby and Chloe are 26 and 26.
I've got 10 years in the business, and he may have 6 years. I mean, he started out.
That sounds right.
He
didn't come straight out of high school.
No, he was at college, for a year and a half, 2 years. He had a couple of other jobs, and then he started working for Aloha. I think he might have stopped for a minute and then came back. But yeah, I mean, I'd say he's worked with me for like 4 years.
So we got Colton.
And then we have Brandon. Okay. Now Brandon is a newer addition, but I mean, he started working with me 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember off the top of my head. And Brandon, he's an older guy. Well, relatively speaking,
older than you.
Yeah, older than me. Okay. Yeah. And he
must be over the hill, right?
No, I mean he's 38, 39.
Okay. Oh, ancient.
Yeah, no.
Is he gonna just hang in there, or are you gonna be able to do this?
I'm telling you what,
getting that old,
he could probably kick all of our butts right now.
You got? You can bring his cane to the job.
I'm just saying,
beat you up with
so
it.
much older. Yeah.
No. Okay. But what I meant is, since he's older, he has a lot of experience in other fields, construction fields. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of what he did, and so, going from one construction field to another, you just can rapidly learn.
Yeah, you get there.
You can
faster.
learn way quicker than everybody. Everything makes more sense, and so 2 to 3 years in, I mean, he could have been building them after the first year by himself.
And to that point, I've told a lot of people this, that the number of pools that we build in a season is sometimes, if somebody has 2 years of experience, that they will have built more pools than a lot of little smaller guys will do in their career, because we work 360. I mean, we work year round, and we put out a lot of product. So yeah, so good. So you got Brandon and Colton, and then so there's two. Any other? What are you going to do? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking. Well, I'd like to have, and I've actually had one more guy that his name is Juan. He's supposed to be back sometime in April.
Okay.
I think we'll have to see kind of how that plays out. I don't know how that's going to work just quite yet, if we can even make it work. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we can somehow. So I would really like to have 3. More likely, it would be 2 crews, and then I would like to be, I guess you would call it a project coordinator for the semis and the above grounds. I think I explained this to you at a different time, that I really would like to be able to drive it, to drive the semi-in-ground business and the above-ground business,
right?
Especially on the construction side, to where I don't have to be on site with a shovel and a trowel in my hand and working. Right. And we've got 2 crews for that. Well, now I can go, if I need to go to another job and give a pool school, or go to another job and have a 2-hour conversation about where they want their pool, before somebody comes in and digs it. And really, I would like to do that to be more beneficial to the customers, and address some of our survey reviews.
Right. I was going to say that we did got 164 survey, roughly, surveys back, and the overwhelming the feedback that we got that we could improve on is that having that time from the contract to the build, the space filled in with information, because people were having to wait to find out, and we weren't talking to them until it was time to build their pool. And having gone through that as a consumer, I would 100% agree with them. And so having yourself or somebody like yourself in that place, I think is going to really up our customer experience, and just to have that to where you can go back behind and do some quality control type stuff as well. You can I think that's going to come in be extremely big for the end user, the customer. And we got a happy customer. We've got an ecosystem, because they will send us more customers to make happy. So I think that's going to be good. So you got 1, 2, 3
maybe
crews.
Hopefully one.
Had to play.
Oh, one. Okay.
All right, so
sorry.
Maybe as many as 3 crews, and I'm going to say that you push for that if you can, because if some of our visa guys come, that I think can come. I think we can supplement. We've asked for a few more visa people this year, so we probably need to work on that. So, and what is your so you see yourself? Are you going to try to level and dig pools? Is that part of what your game is, or
that's a part of it? If I'm not leveling and digging, I would definitely have a lot more time to train a sub to go and do it.
To do the digging?
Yeah, to do the digging. Like, let's say, we've got 4 different locations where we're doing these pools, 5 for the semis. Right. And if we were to have one digger in that area, in each area,
right,
they may or may not know exactly what to do, and they do the best they can, but without any proper training, how are they really supposed to know?
Right.
And it's hard to meet somebody one time and then say, okay, got an idea of what you're going to do, just make sure it's leveling and go out there. There's a little bit more to the entire job, and quality control. If you don't really know these guys, we can't send them to a homeowner's yard.
Right.
Some people they don't hold the same. I guess it's not. They don't.
Yeah. Level standard.
The same standard. Yeah. Right. We don't. We hold everybody here at Aloha to a very, very high standard, and we expect that everybody treats the customer exceptionally,
right,
and uniform in that manner. And it's yes, having more people is good, but you got to onboard these people
right,
for that, or else you're
going backwards.
You're digging a hole with a bigger piece of equipment.
Right.
Right, and not every customer wants just random people in their backyard either. It's they expect us to vet them to a certain degree.
Yeah, yes, and that's a huge part of it.
So, let me just to move on a little bit. What is the biggest surprise from a semi-in-ground pool customer or an above-ground pool customer? In your opinion, what surprises them the most?
Semi-in-ground pools?
Yeah, either or both.
Well, let me really think about this, because the first thing that pops into my mind is, y'all already done?
Heard that. Heard that it goes faster than they expect.
It goes faster than they expect.
What's the average time on
the dirt?
I wondered about that. That's kind of what I wanted to get out. I was going to say it if you didn't say it.
Yeah.
Average time on what's your best time on an above ground pool install?
Best time.
If you can't beat 4 hours, I'm going to say 4 hours, because when you first, maybe your second year in or third year, I would always dedicate a week. Now, the older I've gotten, the busier I've gotten, the less time I've spent out there with him. But 4 hours with job down in Dyersburg. We did a 27-foot round.
Oh, wow.
And I think the hole was already dug.
Yeah, with 5 people.
Yeah, was it? But I was the 5th person.
Yeah.
No, he had him and 2 others, and I was 2 people. I remember walking.
But you've lost weight since then.
But I remember that one being 4 hours. But go ahead.
Yeah. I think the quickest that we've ever done one, I would say
nobody's going to check this.
From the time that I'm trying to get it. There's a lot of factors. I'd say the quickest that I've ever been in and out of a job would be 3 hours from the time that I've unloaded the skid steer to the time that we're loading up and pulling out of the driveway.
It's more common though and I think a lot of people. Somebody once told me one time the people come into his store wanting. This guy said they come into my store wanting credit, and they said they make $300 a day, and what they don't realize is they made $300 one day, and now they think they make that every day. So we say 3 hours is our shortest time. I can build a pool in 3 hours. Well, you can, but you don't on a consistent basis. So I'm going to say it averages probably 6 or 7 hours or something like that. For an above ground pool install.
So a day, basically day or two. Like you were looking at a couple of days. It's been in the yard.
There's really no reason on a fresh site
that hasn't been leveled. Is that what you mean by fresh site?
That doesn't already have a pool there.
Okay.
So because you can run into just anything after rain could be in a hole and then you got to drain it out. There's really. I don't like going to install one above ground a day, and that's all that I have on my plate. I'll do it because we have one-offs that we may have a pool that's 3 hours away from us, and then 2 hours away from the store that it's sold out of, and there's no pools anywhere close. So now we've got to make the journey and then get 2 hours back to the other location, and it just doesn't always work out. However, I won't ever sign up. I won't ever put just one above ground swimming pool on my schedule for a day.
So two a day is what you would like to go for. Have you ever done 3 in a day?
No, we've tried.
So you've got 2 and one, 2 and then another started.
I really do think that if we, right. There was a day that we went out. I remember specifically because it was hot, and I was so mad that I could not get that other pool. I couldn't get it scheduled.
Oh,
yeah, I couldn't get it scheduled because we were Dyersburg, New Bern, and New Bern.
Yeah.
And when you have pools like that, and they're not all 33s dug out deeper in the middle, and I have to take one down and then put the other one up and build around the deck.
Close proximity to one another's. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were back to Aloha. I'm gonna say like 2:30 or 3, which
with 2 pools.
After 2 pools.
Well, that's pretty good.
This blows my mind though, because when I think of getting a pool again, and of course I'm thinking of in ground or whatever, but when I think even as a kid, I had we had an above ground. If I remember, we talked about getting a pool. And then we finally, I don't know who built the pool, if it was Aloha or what, but I feel like it was longer than a day. Like I feel like it was like a week or so.
If it had anything to do with me, it could have been a week. Because the first one I built, it took me a week. And it was miserable. I hated it, and I swear I'd never do it again. I think we talked about this.
We did. We did on the.
Yeah, and then slowly I got quicker, and because I remember I was really proud one day when we used a sod cutter. Took the sod off the ground, stacked it on the low side.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and 7 hours. Me and 2 other guys, 7 hours.
So we've got this down to a science now. Yeah. Like that's I guess if you're building 1,000 pools, you've got it down as compared to somebody that might build 20 in a season or something. It gets
easier. Yeah, and anybody that builds one themselves, though it will be their last one. But if they were to go and build a second one, it would get a little bit more manageable and the more you do, the more the better you get at it. That's just.
I've never used a sod cutter.
Thing. Right.
Could you imagine our technology?
Right. Hey, we did the fire pit at the Lake House Inn.
I can't imagine.
This podcast was brought to you by Lake House Inn. No, but
I've dug out. I've leveled a pool with shovels before.
Yeah.
So, but I have a sod cutter.
Back in the day, we pound the ground with our fists. And,
Yeah.
no, but we would use a sod cutter, and then it'd get dry, and it's just impossible. It just jar and beat you to
They had to
death.
dig with spoons.
So I got the idea that I'm gonna call in and have them to sprinkle their yard, and that helped tremendously because now sod came right up. But we would stack it on one side and raise the blocks, and nowadays the skid steer, people would look at you like you had three eyes if you said, "Yeah, I need you to take the sod cutter out here and tell you how to." They would look at you like you're crazy, but that's the way we did it, and it worked.
Yeah, back in
and
his
we
day,
liked it.
they had to walk to the job 10 miles uphill both ways.
Barefooted.
In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow.
In the snow, that's right.
In June.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird times.
Yeah, but it is evolved now. The skid steer, I was talking to somebody the other day about skid steers. Back when we were doing that, there might have been one skid steer in the county. It seemed like. I mean, they just weren't around. And then the backhoe, one guy came out, Charlie something or another came out and leveled one for me one time. I thought that was pretty amazing. And he left like a wheelbarrow of dirt inside the pool area, and he was sitting there with his machine. Of course, I guess I should have been thankful that we got most of it dug. And there was this wheelbarrow of dirt. It was going to take me 15 or 20 minutes to level out. And I said, "Do you mind to grab that?" And he said, "Y'all just don't want to work." And I'm thinking, "Well, are you?" What I thought, I'm not going to say on this microphone, but it made me like now to where I'm on a machine when I'm digging for somebody. I do not want them to. I don't want. If I see somebody shoveling, I can't help it. I go over there and I start doing the work for them. Like if I'm digging a pool with an excavator or something. I know it's crazy, but it's
not
kinda,
crazy. I'm the same way.
But that one time, that was my first step into machinery leveling the pool, and it just kind of evolved after that. And so I guess we've got at least 10 skid steers now and 2 excavators.
I'm gonna and on that note, dumb consumer here, guy that's not around construction a lot. I spend time in an office behind a computer screen. Explain the difference between an excavator, a skid steer, if you can, real quick. Yeah, I don't know. A backhoe, just a couple of the things that people will see in their yard, so that whenever we say skid steer, backhoe, we got to get the excavator in here. We got to, what are those?
Well, I would say that, okay, so Bobcat almost, how when people get a soda, around here in the South, they say, "Let's go get a Coke."
Yeah.
And it might be a Mountain Dew. But
Right.
that's or to get a tissue is Kleenex.
Right.
Right, let's go get a Kleenex. Well, it's actually a tissue, right? And a skid steer is the real name for what I think Bobcat almost became the Coke of skid steers. So it's just basically the skid, you skid and steer. That's how I guess how it came up with that term skid steer. But it used to be 4 wheels, and now it's most of them that we use anyway. All of it we use have tracks. So, and I don't know if they call them, the technical term is, I think the world calls them skid steers, but.
And what kind of attachments or things are on it?
Gosh, well, it's got a bucket on it for leveling pools, but the skid steer, my gosh, you can have a wood splitter attached to a skid steer, or you can we have a mixer buckets. We have these gigantic concrete buckets. We've got a post hole digger. We've got a trencher that'll mount to.
So the skid steer portion of it is just the actual machine itself, and you have different attachments on it.
That's right.
I've got a set of forks, like a forklift.
100%.
I can attach instead of having the bucket.
Nice.
And then an excavator is what we grew up calling a track hoe. So it's
big shovel.
And then I suppose there's such a thing as an excavator with wheels. So sometimes I've heard them called track excavators. It's like a backhoe with a bucket that reaches out and.
Well, you got to explain what a backhoe is.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you mean? You said like a backhoe. What do you mean?
Well, a backhoe is like
A backhoe is like
it's like a tractor with a bucket on the front. No, you know what I mean by bucket? Can you go give me a break on this?
Yeah, I'm trying to play the consumer here.
Exactly.
So
well,
I know what some of these are. Well, Well,
the problem is that what you got to do on these things, because we get to talk and shop the nomenclature doesn't transfer out to just anybody watching.
That's
so
why
I
I'm here.
appreciate it. No, that's why you got to do that.
When
that's
I
exactly
was with,
why you're here, right?
we bought a house when we moved to Tennessee, and I have a couple acres, and I have this one big open spot. I'm like, what are we going to do with this big open spot? And I said, I get one of those big shovels. I couldn't think of it. Excavate. I said, yeah, maybe I could rent one of those big shovels, out there. And she's like, a big shovel, my wife. And so she makes fun of me now because I said, the big yellow shovels that you dig with.
Right. However, though, that comes from somewhere because I think there was such a thing as a steam shovel.
Yeah, there was.
Not back in my day.
We used to play in the sandbox with the big shovels. That's what we would call them, and they were just excavator. But
yeah, exactly.
Big orange scoopy thing.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, we were Larry Fry and I were talking at a podcast recently, and we were talking about the backhoe that I've never really operated a backhoe, and there's only one lever on a backhoe, and it's for me it's lever alone. And, I would be dead. I would be dead right now if I would have been on this track hoe and it didn't have a cab on it. I'm telling you, behind Deb's house, going down as though we were building that house, it was raining one day. Like a dumbass, I got on this backhoe. I didn't know how to operate it. Me and another.
Oh, it was a backhoe or excavator?
This was a backhoe. It's like the tractor. And I was going to try to figure out how to learn to operate the thing. And I drove the thing on the side of the hill, and the freaking thing turned over, upside down on Ledhauser at the White House with the green roof. On the hill right below where Deb's house was. And I was like, so I called the wrecker service because it wasn't my back. I don't remember whose it was now. And we got out of it, and I ain't got back up. I ain't got back on one.
I thought you were talking about a different time on Ledhauser with a similar piece of equipment and involving a pond.
I'm not going to let you back on podcast because he brings up every time you run that freaking excavator down into the pond. Right?
I got edits. It wasn't my fault last time it was brought up. That's what I thought you were referring to.
No, yeah, right. I did sink an excavator one time, and it's similar, and the same freaking reason. The same reason because it was on wet ground. And it started sliding down into the pond, and I couldn't stop it. I had the bucket down in the water, trying to hold on to it, and then I would try to lift the bucket out and pull it back in, and then push again. And every time I lifted it, I started sliding.
If you were as talented as RC.
RC would have had the thing in that I said in the last time we talked about this is RC would have had more sense than to ever get himself in that situation to begin with, I think. And I think he could have bailed himself out of it. I didn't know it well enough at the time, but now I won't ever I won't ever be by that pond again. How about that? Yeah. So but let's all bring up me putting that freaking excavator in the pond again. Why don't you? But yeah. That's all right.
We found a cord. We found a trigger.
Right.
That gets him going, gets him real worked
Emotional trigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This is like therapy.
Everybody's had their fair share, I think, of equipment.
What's yours?
Not necessarily failures, but
what is yours? Before you do that, can I tell you, we've got a picture somewhere of Cace when he was a year or two old. He was sitting in my lap and on a skid steer, he'd fall asleep. And he and when he was young, before he could talk well, he would say "washeen," which means ride machine. So and so I would put him on the skid steer, and I'd put his hands on the levers, and I would move it with him. And so I'm doing this right now. I'm lifting the bucket up, and then articulating the bucket forward to push a pile of dirt, we'll say. And also I did that with a track hoe. And I guess he might have been 4 years old when I got him on the track hoe excavator, and actually had him operating. I did it with him for maybe 15 or 20, 30 minutes. And then he got the movement because every time he could see, he could see and feel it. So he was operating a 30,000-pound machine when he was probably 4 years old.
According to OSHA?
I'm sure. Yeah, we were out there on my property, so yeah. But anyway, so what have you done What's your machine blooper?
Oh, I'll tell you one. I just now thought of it. It's massive. So I have a trailer with ramps coming down the back of it. It's not a trailer that tilts backwards like this,
Right.
which is the best with any piece of heavy equipment.
Right. You want a tilt trailer?
Yes, 100%. So now I have to drive a skid steer up these tracks and then onto a dovetail,
Right.
and then flatten it out. So it's not a smooth transition. Anytime that it's rainy, muddy,
Right.
icy, even it's dangerous.
Right.
Now today was neither one of those days, but more or so I was just doing some maintenance around the house, and for whatever reason, I was, we were talking about our attachments earlier. I was moving from the bucket to the forks, or vice versa.
Right.
And I can't remember exactly why I was doing this or where I was going with it, but I took the bucket off on the trailer.
Right.
And I go to back the machine up. Well, relatively speaking, I guess the bucket is so light compared to the back of the machine. However, it's placed appropriately to balance you out. All these attachments are going to balance the machine out.
Exactly.
So I took the bucket off. I start backing up. Well, on a tilt trailer, I would have just set back down like that, but the back end come off of that dovetail, and the thing rocked and stood me straight up, just like this.
Oh,
And I was looking up at the sky.
Right.
And seriously,
It didn't.
my face, I didn't move. I just went.
did the bucket come flying at you?
No, the bucket was not attached.
You had disconnected the
I had
bucket.
But you
sitting
had
at the front of the
disconnected.
trailer.
So in my mind, I'm thinking you disconnected it on the front of the trailer, and then you backed up, and then when it flipped up, the bucket
I
had to
no
go
tilt.
somewhere.
This wasn't a tilt trailer. This is the
machine.
one with the ramps.
Right.
Okay.
So when
It was just your machine that did it.
Yeah, just
Oh,
my
okay,
machine. So
okay.
I'm backing up and I hit the dovetail, and the machine rocks back like that.
I see.
So what'd you do?
So I was looking at the sky trying to brace for impact, and then nothing happened. And I realized that the back of the machine, it sticks out far enough
Right.
to literally catch me.
Keep you from rolling over.
To keep me from rolling over. So I was like, I just took a deep breath, which means I just backed it up essentially,
Right.
and I had to hit it as hard as I could because I had to get off that trailer,
Right.
or at least that's what I felt like at the time. And so that's what I did, and the tracks caught, and I backed off the trailer.
Yeah.
But it was definitely the scariest, not the most difficult situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something like that could be dangerous. But that wasn't the time. I don't really, off the top of my head, I don't have any significant
Other than that,
or I've been stuck in a lot of people's yards and skid steers. None that are more significant than the other. I know this recently. Typically, I get stuck in the pool, in the hole that I'm digging, because the equipment's heavy, you're running back and forth.
Early
it pumps-
spring.
Right.
early spring pumps water. It's just easy for you to get stuck in the hole. This, I had already broken through the tricky part. Now I'm back down to solid clay, and I'm like, this is really, really good. I was worried about it, but now I can just move on now. The outside of the ground downhill was still
Still muddy.
pumping that water, and what happened is I was backing up, and I was gonna go. I had to get out of the skid steer, so I backed up, and I backed up too far, and I lodged the back side of it into my big mound of dirt without realizing it. I got out, skid steer, got back in the skid steer and tried to drive it, and it wouldn't go anywhere. I'm like, what in the world? And I tried to I'd try to move left or right, but I've already dug my tracks down into the ground,
Right.
and I just kept digging myself and digging myself.
You take your bucket and try to pull you forward.
Did everything.
Yeah.
Try to push myself back. I try to pull myself out, which really, to get out of a tricky situation, you need to be able to push yourself back with a skid steer. There's not enough strength if you're stuck, good
Right.
to pull yourself.
So how'd you get out?
We had I had to come back and get the stand behind skid steer and dig out the dirt from behind me.
I got you.
And then you back it out. I think I filled up. I can't remember we pulled it out or not. I don't think we pulled it out. I think I just literally dug the dirt out from behind it.
Right.
And walked on out of there.
Rock and roll. John, ask the question.
All right.
We're trying out a new question just to see I kind of look forward to this answer.
So
Really look forward to
the
this
thing
answer.
we've been asking everybody, we know you work at Aloha and you've been here for several years, but let's say suddenly you've got an untold fortune, something happened, you're financially set. You don't have to work anymore. You don't have any worries anymore. What would you do with your life?
What do you mean by financially set?
So, like you just overnight became a billionaire. Let's put it that way. You don't have any money worries.
So this is not.
ever
This
again.
doesn't have anything to do with Aloha.
No.
Okay. All right.
Brad's still healthy. He's still here. So
He's still healthy. He's
you're
still
not a
kicking.
billionaire yet.
And then,
you
now
don't have Aloha, that means you don't have debt. So then if you're a billionaire, this is
No, this is just you.
So I can
You
pay
hit
off-
the lottery on accident.
I could pay off, his debt. And
Right,
then,
right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Think about it for a second, because I got to tell you the story that I always think's funny. Because if you asked me that, I would say I'd probably just build pools until it ran out. But that's that's what somebody said. My brother told me the joke about the people in East Texas that won the lottery, and they said, "What are you going to do now?" And he said, "I'm just going to probably build pools till that runs out."
Yeah.
So anyway, so tell us your answer.
I would start investing in land. I use investing loosely because I'm not sure that any of it would ever turn a profit, but it wouldn't matter because I've got a bunch of money.
Right.
That's kind of
You like land. You want to be a landowner. You want for what use? What purpose?
well to really turn it back to its original state. Honestly, there's a lot of people buy land and develop it for certain reasons, agriculture, commercially, real estate.
Build a neighborhood.
Build a neighborhood. But
You'd rather be an undeveloper.
yeah,
Interesting.
I guess
That's
so.
kind of neat.
Well,
Yeah, I think
like
it is, yeah.
90% of the U.S.'s native grasses are no longer existent. They're replaced by some sort of something else, whether it be, concrete or ag fields or
Right.
whatever the case may be. And I look at it from a wildlife standpoint. Of course, I like to hunt.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
I knew the answer. I thought I knew the answer, and we're
Right.
slowly getting there. But it's
I like to hunt, but I would like to continue to be able to hunt in the future. And
What
the decline.
animals?
Really, my favorite one would be waterfowl.
Okay.
he hates ducks.
Gotcha.
No, I don't. I have a lot of respect for the game, and they taste good. So that's how I can justify even doing something like that.
He wants to have land, and he wants to have a lodge for
I
a
see.
duck hunting lodge. And I
Gotcha.
think that would probably be his first purchase. That's my guess. You're a billionaire, right?
Yeah, I've got all the money, so it's not. I would. I don't know. It's a lot of responsibility having that much money, and I don't. That's I feel like you would need. There needs to be a big change and a lot of things that are going on as far as our natural resources for the wildlife, for any wildlife is. It's just it decreases and decreases and decreases every year, and I just think it's kind of crucial, more so than having a lodge. A lodge would be awesome, but now as I've gotten older, I don't really find a lot of. I've seen it. It's cool. I'd love to experience it. I'd love to have one day, but the goal wouldn't be just to hunt. It would be to preserve for hopefully generations and generations to come.
What you're talking about is building an environment that people would want to come and be a part of, so they can see what what the world was like, and then if you could do both. That's the point,
Yeah, the conservationists, when you think about a lot of the hunting, like the big game hunting, people often mistake big game hunting as, a bunch of rich people going out and killing these beautiful animals. But so much of what they do, like when there might be a bull elephant that has surpassed its mating life and it's starting to, cause trouble with the other elephants or whatever. So that's the one that they've selected to be hunted. And people, the millions of dollars that are spent by the hunters, conserves that land, conserves that area for them.
Would you say it prevents extinction?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah,
right, and it keeps the.
And I'm no expert on any of it. I've only been hunting once in my life, squirrels.
Right.
And when I saw the poor little fella, and it just kind of but that was the only thing.
Speaking of squirrels,
yeah, totally.
I think we've so we kind of got to have an understanding of his heart there.
Great.
That's pretty cool.
Very interesting.
Cool. And don't get me wrong, I would have a good spot, but
right, you'd have a good hunting spot. Too,
yeah,
right?
But it would the climate, the environment, the ecosystem would be a lot different than a lot of, and that would be my primary focus.
Right.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Cace, and this has been a fun one. We appreciate all the viewers, listeners at home. Please leave comments, subscribe, like, reviews, all that stuff. Tell us what else you'd like to hear. And we appreciate you joining us for another Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive podcast. And as always, we would like to welcome you to Dive Safely.
There you go. Good job.